Hi, welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Today we are continuing with our journey with Plumsail, and as we saw in the last video where we customized the Plumsail Public Form, the one that looks similar to Microsoft Forms but it's way more customizable, today we are going to continue and see how we can display that complex input type, like the one with the table that we saw and the signature one, in a SharePoint list, because the standard columns that SharePoint offers us cannot show that kind of complex input data. So we will have to customize that, and that we can do with SharePoint Forms from Plumsail. Stick around if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and I wish you have fun. Thanks for watching. So before we continue with the development of those SharePoint forms, let's take a look how we can find those forms first. So all you need to do is to go to plumsail.com, and here we have, again, as we saw in a couple of times now, all the solutions that they are offering. And of course, one of them is the Forms tab here. As you can see, if we click on that, we'll land then on the Forms section of the website. No? And we have here the demonstration of our public forms that we saw on the previous video. So what we need to check this time is our SharePoint forms. No? The last time we checked public web forms, now we go to SharePoint forms to customize those SharePoint lists and library forms so that it looks like the way we want it. Now, so when we click there, you can see here a little bit more information. If we scroll down, we can see here some other explanations, the advanced layout, related items and documents, enhanced controls, personalized forms, and so on and so forth. Okay, so after you have clicked here, try now, and signed up for this service, you can then go on and go to your account at plumsail.com, and here's where you can then select, let's go back then to the main one. And here's where you can select one of the solutions that you can use with your account. And in my case here, we have forms, documents, and actions. We have been seeing these two for the moment. So now we're going to go again into forms. And here's where you can select, similar to the previous video that we saw together, which one you want to use. So we have the public forms from the previous video, and now we're going to use the SharePoint forms. So the first thing that you want to do is, of course, create an account, and you have, as I said, the 30-day trial period, and then you can add a SharePoint tenant, because Plumsail also needs to know which SharePoint tenant you are using so that the technology behind it can similarly work, and so on and so forth. So after you click there, you land at this subscriptions section of your account website. And as you can see here, my trial is going to run out soon, so I've been testing it a little bit longer now. And what you can do is here click add a tenant. I've already done that, that's why it's showing up here. And then you have the option, of course, to purchase it. If you have finished testing it out and you like it, you can click purchase, and you don't have to do all this stuff again from scratch. You can just purchase the service for the specific one that you need, and yeah, it just continues normally working. So yeah, in your case, if you're doing this for the first time, you will click here add tenant, and you will have to paste here your SharePoint tenant that you're going to use, and then grant permissions for enabling scripting capabilities, and then click add. That's something I've already done, that's why it's showing up here. And now if we go back to home, you can say here, it's explaining you here how you can continue with it. So it says add Plumsail Forms app to the app catalog and enable it for all sites with the organization. So let's see what the app catalog is. It's a nice helpful link to the Microsoft documentation where it shows you how you can go to this app catalog. So let's do that now. Okay, so as you can see here, we just navigated to the admin center of our SharePoint site. This is the URL for that. And what we need to do here is to install and activate the application called Plumsail Forms so that we can use it then in our SharePoint lists or libraries. To do so, we have to go here at more features at the bottom on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, we see here the apps. Now it says configure SharePoint store settings, monitor app usage, manage app licenses, and more. So let's click open, and this will open our managed applications for this tenant. And you can see that I don't have any at all. What you can do here is you can click on the SharePoint store. This will open again a new page, and here's where we can find our Plumsail forms that we need. So at the top here, we can search for Plumsail, hit enter. And after a while, we can see here that we have some options. We can see the Forms Designer, Workflow Scheduler, and so on and so forth. The one that we are interested on is the Plumsail Forms. Click on that, and we can add this to our apps site. Now it's validating, and you can see here the confirmation window where it says that this app will be available only, or you make only this app available, or you can enable this app and add it to all sites. And you can also add it to Teams as well. So that's something I don't want to select now, but I want to have this on all of my sites. So I'm going to select add. And as you can see, we have here our Plumsail Forms application that we have enabled, and the state is here marked with a green marker. So it looks all good. What we need to do next, as you can see here in the description, we need to install the designer. Now, we added the Plumsail Forms application into our app catalog and enabled it for all of our sites within our organization. That's something we just did. And next we have to install the designer, connect to SharePoint, and start customizing forms. So let's do that. I have copied the URL for the installation of that designer. So I'm going to download it here. I've downloaded already 4 times, you can see. So let's open that. So now it is requesting for my SharePoint site URL. We are going to use our project management site, and we have here our job application form from the previous videos, you remember. And this is our entry that we did with our public form. Now this is the data, and what I promise you is that we are going to customize not only but mainly these 2 columns here. The one who had the employment history, which is our table input option in our public forms, and the signature, which is an image actually, as you can see here, data colon image PNG base64. And these are 2 columns that SharePoint cannot just visualize or show in a nicer manner by itself, so with the default features, but we need to customize it. Okay, so let's copy here our SharePoint site. So we need not only the root, but also the site and the name of the site so that we can find our SharePoint list. Let's paste it here and click connect. So this might ask you to log in. In my case, it did not because I've already done that. But yeah, after you do that, you have here the list of document libraries that you can choose from. This is our site content in our SharePoint site, and the one that we are using is our job application form, and the content type is an item. It's the only one we can select, by the way. Let's click open, and this will open now our as you saw, my trial period will expire in 3 days, but don't worry about that. So I click OK, and this will open now the designer. So if we see here, we have on the left hand side the SharePoint fields that we see in our SharePoint list. You see here the position, if I remember, was the title, and we can see that if we filter by one of them, it's only one, and we see here that the link title. So here we see the name of that, the back end name of that column. So that's the title one. Then we have here first name is this one here, the desired salary and last name, and so on and so forth. So what we're going to do here is we're going to drag and drop our forms into this canvas, and we're going to create our form the way we want it. So let's start dragging and dropping here, and we have the first name. So this one I want to rename it as well because I don't want it to just say title. This will be our, I think it was the position. I forgot already. Position. So we have here the position, the first name. Let's add the last name, the birth date. So the last name and the birth date. So let's split this also, like similar like the one we did for the public forms, into maybe tabs. Let's use tabs here. And for the first tab, we want to have the first name, the last name, and birth date, maybe it's like some personal information. So let's rename this tab to personal information. And let's grab maybe the address as well, the phone, email, and what do we have? Anything else that we might need? No, that's it. So then we have another tab, which we're going to call job position. And then let's go back here. We have the position, which we can add. We'll have to remove it from here, I imagine. Let's go to the job position, and we can add here the employment history. We can add here the signature, maybe the words about yourself. I mean, this is all for that job application form, no? So this is the personal information, this is the job related information that we want to split a little bit to separate a little bit from each other. So let's place here the desired salary at the top. And what else do we have? Signature date. Yeah, why not? Let's place that there. And I think, let's see again, we had also some attachments, as you can see. So let's place those here as well. And I think that should be enough. Okay, so what we need to do next, after we finish this, the creation of all of our fields that we need to take care of these spatial fields that we mentioned last video. The one where you sign the ink section, and the one where you have the multi-lines of data in the table. So that those were not displaying correctly, and for that reason we created the two SharePoint list columns, which is called, we have it here, the signature. It says here some text, because if you remember, it was a multi-line text column, and also our employment history, which is also a multi-line text column, but the data coming inside from the SharePoint, from the public form, are in a table format. No? So that's why it was displaying that weirdly. And that's something we can change now by removing this signature and this employment history fields here, and then placing new fields with the control that we need, the signature of the table, and tell them to write that data into our multi-lines of text fields. So first we need to remove this, and I'm going to add a new control called ink sketch above the signature date. This will be my signature. So let's rename it signature. And we have here also our employment history. That's something I want to remove as well. And here's going to place the data table. So this one here is going to be my employment history. And if you remember, we need here to place also the columns that we are using in our form. So we have here the position. Let's copy that. We have here the company and the hire date, the leave date, the phone, and I think that's it. No, the rest is then starting it from scratch. So let's go back and say here this is our first column, and our first column was position. Then we can add here a new column. Did I save it? No, because it needs to be called position as well. So the second column is our company. Let's paste that as well. Add another column. Is our hire date plus our leave date. And then we have our phone. So this is our table. And we have here our signature, very well. So this table now needs to be saving into our employment history. And then the formatting is like that: name, position, company, hire date, leave date, and phone. So this looks okay. Let's leave the rest as it is, and make sure that our signature is also saving in our signature multi-line text column. So one thing that we need to keep in mind is that when we are customizing these forms, we have to see, or we have to build the different types of these forms. No? So you can see here in the top right hand corner that we have the type of this form. We have the new, the edit, and the display type. The one we just created is the edit type. So if we switch here to the new one, it is empty because we need to build that as well. Make sure that if you select these three options, this will all be overwritten. So for example, if your display, edit and new mode are all the same, you just have to save it to edit it in one of them, select all the other ones as well, and then it will be automatically saved in this structure for all the forms, not for all the edit form modes. So you don't have to do all of these three by one after each other. Okay, this form has been saved, and now we are safe to go and continue with the customizations or publishing or so on and so forth. But before doing that, let's take a look on the editor again, because as I said, it is very similar to the one we use for the public forms, but we can see here what we can do for the SharePoint forms, which maybe triggers your imagination to understand the potential behind this solution. So we have here some CSS functionality, we have here the JSON, and we have here some more settings. So here's one of the most important, how you want the users to interact with this new form. Do you want it to open as a panel? It will look like that, maybe a little bit smaller, medium or large, or you want it to open in a full screen. I would suggest to stick with panel, because when I use SharePoint list, I like to see the file or the item that I have selected and to know, okay, which form I'm editing. Usually you see that information also in your form, but I find it easier to have this overlapping visual. Here you have this toggle button, apply to list web paths, and you have here the option to import or export the form. And it says here also restore default SharePoint forms, new display, edit, and we can select one of those as well. You can create also additional views like phone or tablet, similar to the public forms. So we have here also the field customizers. Now this list does not contain field customizers by the designer, but it's there. You have here some Power Automate where you can trigger a flow when the form is submitted. Now this is also very helpful. We can do it also from Power Automate or from this form here. And these are the settings. And as I said here on the right hand side is where we change between the forms. So let's go back to the editor, and here on the right hand side you can still see those settings here for that, the way of opening this form. And what we can see here on the left hand side is also some more fields that we can pull into our SharePoint form. Similar to the public forms, we have here headings, we have here buttons, data table, ink sketch, the two that we are trying to customize here, and HTML, lookups, a lot of options here to customize this public form, this SharePoint form as the way you want it. So one of the most awesome features that you can customize here is this button here at the top right hand corner, which says all users. So if you click on that, what you can do here is you can customize the way that this form is being displayed to a specific user. So maybe some users need to see some fields, the other ones need to see some other fields, and to build that logic based on the user which is logged in. Since we don't have time to dive deeper into these settings, I'm going to just showcase it to you a little bit on the website. And as you can see here, we have the option to set, to create these form sets for different types of users. Common use for form sets is to provide unique forms for members or certain groups, which are easily configured in the menu and when you create a new form set. As you can see here, this documentation has created a new form set called approval, selected the group that is going to be into this form set, and here at the custom routing section, which is this part here, you can create the logic for that custom routing. There's also a detailed documentation here. If you click on these forms for members of certain groups, it will open this this section here where it's a bit more explaining how you can build this together, and you can create even different form sets, so you are not limited to one or two. And then also here the custom routing is explained a bit more. So I will make sure that I link all this information in the video description so that you can dive deeper into this topic by yourself. Okay, so I think this is enough for the form designer here from Plumsail. Let's take a look how this looks like now in our SharePoint. Since we have saved it and we have saved all of our new edit and view forms, we should be able to now go to SharePoint and see how it looks like. So let's minimize this one and let's refresh the page. And we see here that we have the data looking much better. The signature now is showing perfectly and the table as well. And if you click new, you will have here the option. Let's test this out. Enea, I'll put my name here. I was born yesterday, test, 1, 2, 3, test. And then let's go to the job position and we have here, as you can see, the position, test, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have here, let's add some records here for position 1, test, I don't know, put some dates here. And I see I just missed this because it says hire date and it's expecting a text. So what you can do here is the hire date needs to be date and leave date as well, not a string. So let's click here. Let's mark this 3 and save. And let's see how it looks like in our SharePoint list. So yeah, hire date, let's say like something like that. And we have here also the phone, 1, 2, 3, 4. Some information here, signature date is from today. Let's add a file. There it is. And okay, so let's click save. So this will create a new row now, and we have here our data. I only create one row, but you can see it here. The new signature, the attachment is there, everything is there. It works perfectly, and it looks really, really nice. Refresh and open our newly created item. You can see here this looks much better. And if you're not happy with the width of this form, you can always go here and let's see, you click away from the canvas. You can say here show in medium, show in small, show in large. Let's select this and say for all of them, click save. Okay, it will overwrite. So the changes now have been saved. Let's go back to SharePoint, refresh the page, and we can see here the changes are still there. But if you click and edit, this will open a bit larger. And you can see here a little bit more from your data. No? So this is also something you can keep in mind. Yes, so that's it with today's video. I hope you liked it. And I am a very, very big fan of SharePoint Forms from Plumsail. I think they offer so many opportunities to customize the SharePoint forms and to make them look really, really nice. And also here, if you compare it to something like Microsoft Power Apps, I know Power Apps has other options and other plus points, but when it comes to customizing these SharePoint forms and also the view of the data, the columns and so on and so forth, like we saw with the table and the signature, it's no match. I think that's something that Plumsail Forms can do much, much better. And on many points, it's also a lot easier to use and it loads so fast. You saw that as soon as you click on save, you just need to refresh the page and you already have it on your SharePoint list. I think the connection there and the synchronization on between these two tools is really, really nicely implemented, and it's a lot of fun to work with. And if you like the video and the channel and what I do, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel here. And also, if you want, you can follow me on LinkedIn, since I post there many, many news that I find on Microsoft forums and annunciations. So give a follow on LinkedIn as well if you want. And if you have any question, let me know. Thanks for watching. Have fun. Bye.